guests and commissioners, we're almost ready to start. It'll be starting in about, we're actually recording now. It'll be starting in about 30 seconds. Okay, we're recording and we are live, and you can start the meeting, Chair McLaughlin.
Welcome, everyone. Today is June 8th, and it's 4:02, and my name is Janelle McLaughlin, and I'm chair of Etac. Recording secretary, would you please start the meeting? Hello?
Yes, Chair McLaughlin, I'm here. The meeting
Thank you.
is starting. It has started.
Okay. I would like to call this special Etac meeting of June 8th, 2021 to order, and it's 4:03. Commissioner Benninger, would you please say the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag?
Very good. Everyone follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Recording secretary, will you please do roll call?
Yes, Chair McLaughlin. Nancy Sandoval Bailon.
Present.
Carl Benninger.
Present?
Brian Germain. Brian Germain.
He's muted himself.
Just a moment, everybody.
He's muted.
Yes.
Hello, this is Commissioner Brian Germain.
We were taking roll and your name came up. You
I
could say
apologize.
present. Okay.
Present.
Dorian Romero.
Present.
Gary Wood.
I am present.
Janelle McLaughlin.
Present.
Tanya Navarro.
Present.
Sui Vasquez.
Present.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the recording secretary to describe the way the public can access this virtual meeting.
Most certainly. This meeting is being live streamed via the City of Santa Ana portal, www.santa-ana.primegov.com/public/portal. If you would like to provide a public comment, you may do so on this City of Santa Ana portal. The opportunity to speak is going to follow this comment. If you wish to speak, please select the Zoom hand icon. To let us know if you wish to speak. You will be called upon by the name you entered. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and we will alert you when your time is up. Chair McLaughlin? That's a McLaughlin home. Chair McLaughlin?
So she's muted.
Yes.
She needs to unmute herself. She has, oh, here, she's coming in again. It looks like she's using multiple devices to log in. So it's going to
Yes.
probably provide some feedback.
Yes.
Chair McLaughlin, are you there? Hi, Mark.
I am.
Okay, great.
Switching computers.
Oh, good, good. All right. That's wonderful.
So you've already described the way that we can participate. Is there any comments for the agenda or non-agenda items by the public today?
Chair McLaughlin, I don't see any.
Okay. I'm going to ask every time that we speak on the Zoom call that our commissioners introduce themselves. Moving on to the consent calendar, item 1, 2, and 3. If Commissioner Romero has asked for, oh, hi, Commissioner Romero.
I'm so
You're
sorry.
here.
I forgot to mention to you that Commissioner Romero is present. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. So we have no absences?
We have no absences at all.
Very good. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar, the items 1, 2, and 3?
I make that motion that we accept.
Commissioner Jermaine, I second.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're moving on to the business calendar today. Today is the day that we have set up for the nominations and elections. And I'd like to make a motion to continue that to the July meeting. And the reason I would like to continue that to the July meeting is it was brought to my attention that the Etac bylaws that were sent out on May 26th at 10:03 were the 217 bylaws. And in that notation, it said that we were going to City Council on June 15th with one change. And the change was the time to 4 o'clock instead of 7:30 in the morning. It was brought to my attention, there's numerous changes to the bylaws. And the fact is that in reviewing the bylaws, I made note that Article 3, Section 10 on page 3 of 5 of the 6/15/21 bylaws going to City Council, it states that, let me read it to you. It states that the bylaws of the commission shall be amended only by the approval by the supermajority, but at least by 4 of the members of the commission at a regular special meeting. But no such amendment shall be adopted unless at a 7 days written notice thereof has previously been given to all members. And such notice shall be identified this section of the bylaws. So the only bylaw given to Etac of change was a time change. And now that it's been brought to attention, there's quite a bit of change. Responsibility changes, reporting changes. And I think all the folks that volunteered for the Etac Commission went online, looked at our bylaws on May 26th when they were distributed, and have no idea today that how dramatic that the bylaw changes are, and that they're just not housekeeping changes, but they are reporting changes. So that is my motion to continue, and I would also make a request in the motion to have a special bylaw meeting so that staff can review these bylaw changes with us. So everyone is on the same page, everyone has the same information, and everybody has requested to be on Etac with understanding these new bylaw changes. And that is my motion. Do I have a second?
Benninger, I support that motion so that we also, as a commission, can vote on these bylaws, so we know what we're voting on before it goes to council.
So
Any
do we
questions?
have any discussion on this at this time? So moved, a first and a second, so that the motion stands.
Excuse me, Chairwoman, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Wood. Could we have any input from city staff on this request to postpone the nominations another month? Is there any input from the city, or is that just not of concern?
Most of the nominations, is my understanding, and elections are done in the month of July. I believe you worked with Tom Morrissey to work on the bylaws. And at that time, you guys had put it in that our elections were in June, whereas other commissions are in July. And so actually in this revision that's going to city council, they took out that whole section that you guys had put in there about having June nominations and voting. There are other highlights here is that we've always been advisory to public works, and they removed that. We are no longer advisory to public works as these new revisions. But most important is that our section 101 states that all bylaws and any changes to the bylaws come first to Etac, and nobody brought all these changes to Etac. They only brought one change, which was the time change.
Given your comment, Chairwoman, that the other commission go to vote in July, that makes sense what you're asking. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Nabil.
Yes, sir.
The changes that are being made to the bylaws are strictly a reflection of what was made early by the city council in the update and the charter and the ordinance of the special commissions. So what we're doing here is to reflect those changes in the bylaws. The only one that is unique to Etac is the starting date, the time that we are changing. Everything else is a reflection of what the ordinance and that was approved by the city council with our legal city attorney's office, where they made we made the changes to the bylaws to reflect what the ordinance is. The only unique, like I mentioned earlier, is the change is the starting time. So regardless, those changes need to happen to the bylaws to be in line with the ordinance and the changes that the city council has made early on to all commissions. There was changes that made through the city council when the charter was reviewed and the ordinance, all the ordinances were reviewed for all the commissions. There was changes, and again, those bylaws changes are just a reflection of what the ordinance indicates. And by the way, not voting for the chair or the vice chair is not going to stop the bylaws from going to the city council for approval.
Commissioner, sorry, I have a question. So can you specify what ordinance that is and whether that takes precedence then over our current bylaws and whether we have to approve? Like, I'm not, just the details of that ordinance, I guess. Can you clear that up?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I don't have the changes on me here right now, but I can go and get that in a minute. Like I said, the ordinance was changed through the city council. And like, for example, committee, the name committee changed from a committee to a commission. That's a change I made to make you commissioners like other, but not a committee members. Before, you used to be committee members, but now you're commissioners. So we needed to make that change in the bylaws to make it consistent. And that's all we're doing. We're making the bylaws consistent with the ordinance that would change. If you want
So the reference, Nabil, if I may, the reference of the ordinance number is NS 2992, and it could be found on the city's website. If you go to Santa Ana Municipal Code, it's
May I ask who's speaking?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Daisy Gomez, the clerk of the council. So if you go into the Santa Ana Municipal Code, Article 4, Division 9, it describes the entire change, and it was done by ordinance number NS-2992.
So I believe the question is, on May 26th, we were sent out a copy of bylaws that stated in the content that only one change was to be made, and the one change was the time. So in the bylaws, in our section 10 there in Article 3, it states that we have the opportunity to listen to the bylaw changes if the city section changed it or anything else, but no one has had the ability to see these multiple changes. I'm not talking about just housekeeping changes such as commission to commissioner or time to time, but as the notation is, I believe I've been on the Etac for 5-6 years, and we always had the advisory capacity to both the city council and to the director of public works. So I did not believe any other than the planning commission had advisory capacity to city council. But I took note here that we no longer have advisory to the executive director of public works. And in my 6 years, we always had that reporting. So are you telling me across the line, nobody reports or advises to their executive directors, and everybody now advises directly to the city council?
No, this is unique to you are advisory to the city council.
And I think the discussion is all valid that we have, but the fact is that we were not, all of these changes are not just housekeeping changes. And so I do believe we have the opportunity to have a special meeting to review these, to understand why we're special and why we're doing city council and how we report to the city council, and do we do a monthly report to them? Because we no longer have a advisory capacity to the executive director of public works. So who do we report to? Who do we advise?
Yeah, you advise the city council. The person that put you on the Etac commission is who you advise to.
It doesn't say that, sir. In here, it says we advise totally to the city council, and it has always been the city council as a group. But I don't think this is the time we have a full agenda. That's the reason I'm asking. Can we definitely, have a meeting to review this? And, maybe we ask our city council commissioners to kick it back to Etac, because there are a lot of nuances here. And I think Carl would recognize him for his years on Etac. And I think it's only fair that our new Etac commissioners know what position they're taking and what kind of responsibility they have.
Yeah, I just think I would just add to it that this may changes. Be nice to go in front of council and say it's been approved by Etac. At this point, we're not even being asked for a vote on this, not even being asked to take a look at it. And
our commissioners don't even have a copy of it.
Yeah, you know, the advisement or how Etac works is not even in the bylaws. It's not being changed. That is in the ordinance. So what we're changing is not how you report to the city council. That's not even in here.
Madam Chairwoman, if I could interject, Commissioner Wood, I think the three changes that you're discussing, I would speak for myself. I'm very aware of them, and I'm not sure if the other commissioners would have an exception to want to look at that. I certainly don't have a problem moving forward with the nominations today. I think the changes that have been made are pretty straightforward. There's three that we're discussing. I would ask the other commissioners to weigh in with their comfort level on this. I'm very comfortable with what we're hearing and moving forward.
Commissioner Wood, I'd like to respond because I believe you were with Tom Morrissey on that ad hoc commission with the Etac bylaws.
No, ma'am. I was not on any special commission.
So, I mean, it's taking the voting off of the June period. It's giving it these changes. I just think every commissioner should have what I have in my hand. And that is the multiple changes. I'm just highlighting a few of them. And I think every commissioner has a right to have in their hand what is being stated. And if they still want to participate in this as it's set up as advisory, and if they're good with it, I just believe transparency. You know, I've always believed that. And if it was given to us on May 26th, but it wasn't. We were given 217 bylaws, and we were told only thing changing is the 4 o'clock time. And again, sir, there's no June or July period for nominations. There's no procedure for nominations in here. It's been taken out.
No, we have not taken that out. That's not in the changes.
Well, if we want to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, I don't think this is the time to do it. I'm asking for it to not go to city council, or we have the ability to be all given the same information. That I think that's the role of my position as chair, because again, in Article 3, Section 10, it states in our bylaws that we as a commission, each commissioner has the right to see every change, every in writing, 7 days written before. And this just has not been done. And it is my personal responsibility to support the bylaws that I have sworn to uphold. And in there, it states that. And my commissioners are not receiving what is their fair share and what they rightly have for transparent information, sir.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll share the proposed changes along with a copy of the ordinance for your review.
So we do have a motion, and it was second on the table in terms of changing the election period to a month of July and a request for a special meeting. So are you saying that we're going to have a special meeting to review these for us?
No, we're proceeding with the changes. We'll give you the opportunity to look at those modifications, and that's what we'll do. And the item is going to be agendized for the city council meeting coming up. And like I said, all of the changes that we have here has nothing to do with the authority or how you report to the city council or the executive director. All of what's doing here is changing committee.
Then, sir, I ask you under Article 6, Powers and Duties, Section 2. It fully states and has been crossed out that we no longer have advisory capacity to the Executive Director of Public Works Agency. And that is a change. And the previous bylaws said that we were advisory capacity to the Executive Director of Public Works, and this has been scratched out.
Right.
And that is not an ordinance change, sir.
It is. It was changed in the ordinance.
This is Commissioner Carl Benninger. Neville, are all commissions now being just advisory to the council and not their departments like they were?
No, this is unique. This is unique to Etac.
Okay, so in this, again, let me go back to if the new commissioners and old guys like me, this is the first time seeing this. I have not had a chance to look this over. And so therefore I haven't been able to approve. And yet you're going to take it to council. Are we the only one going to council on the 15th?
Yeah, this is you. See, you know, the issue really is right now is because in the bylaws, you are to meet at 7:30 in the morning on Tuesdays.
Right.
So, and you voted to change that to 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, the second Tuesday of the month. So substantially, that's the change in the bylaws. Everything else is a cleanup language and a reflection of what the ordinance changes were made early on. I want to say about a year ago. It was in September. In September of last year.
Novell, I understand exactly what you've said because I remember the vote to change the hours. That's something that we all voted on.
Right.
I also remember wanting to clean up the language, but there are other changes besides just that in these bylaws. And that's what I'm kind of concerned that I haven't had a chance to take a look at it and is satisfied that indeed those are the only changes. So I don't know, delaying this a month till it gives a chance for myself and the other commissioners to look at this and then be able to vote on these changes. I don't see how we're hurting anything. And in fact, it's really in the best interest to go to council because I sure don't want to go to council and say, wait, I haven't voted on this. And I'm sure my council person will ask me if we've approved these. And I sure want to say yes, that you have my support. At this moment, I can't because I haven't looked this over.
Go ahead.
This is William Galvez, city engineer. I was the staff person that was involved with revising the bylaws. The bylaw revisions came from the ordinance, which was changed in September. So some of these changes we're obligated to do because, as you know, the ordinance is not administrative, it's law. And so the major change that we made is by changing committee to commission. All of the changes in the bylaws are being forced from the ordinance NS 2992. There are no other changes to the bylaws except for what comes from NS 2992. And that ordinance specifies exactly what the responsibilities of Etac are. And so the only changes we made are to reflect the ordinance 2992. Those changes were worked on by the city attorney's office and myself. Just a comment for background. Our public works director can tell you whether when these bylaws might be presented to council if there is a change.
So Commissioner Bailon, just to wrap up, or not wrap up, but to clarify what you said, or you're saying that an ordinance has the power to bypass bylaws and what they're saying needs to be done. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. The ordinance came about from a charter, from a change in the charter, the city's charter. It went through a first and second reading, and that was done back in September with a full blessing and vote by the council.
To affect not only Etac's bylaws, but all commission bylaws?
There were changes to several commissions in that NS 2992 ordinance.
So this is Chair McLaughlin. So William, the ordinance exactly was covered that our advisory responsibility is no longer to the Executive Director of Public Works. Are you stating that is the ordinance that covers that Article 6, Section 2? You're confirming that is the ordinance that covers that?
Yes.
That's not even a change.
The Article 6 powers and duties of the commission.
Section 2. That the 217 Section 2 states that we have advisory capacity to the Executive Director of Public Works in the 2017 bylaws. This now has that crossed out and now to the City Council. But Nabil is saying, no, not as the City Council as a whole do we report. We only report to our elected council members. But it does not say that our capacity of advisory is only to our ward council members. It doesn't even say that here. But Nabil just interpreted it as that.
I think I know where there's a source of confusion. The bylaws that you're referring to are the old bylaws pre-2017. The bylaws were significantly changed 2 or 3 years ago. And that was
when Tom Morrissey was the ad hoc and changed the ad hoc on that. I still, I mean, we can sit here, but I do believe that we have a right and to have it explained to us and to have the ordinance shown to us and have it clarified, because this is the first time that I heard that the advisory responsibility is to only our ward representative and not to City Council as a whole.
No, I want to correct the record. You are responsible to advise City Council. So,
okay.
Any of the members of the City Council, not the person or the individual that elected you or nominated you. So you can advise anyone in the City Council as a single member or the entire council.
But I think our new commissioners do not know that we have no process or procedure on doing that. And last year, William was working with us to clarify a process and procedure to do that. So there's a lot of intricacies in these bylaws, sir. And I don't want to take up our meeting for this, but I still believe that there are, as my experience, are more points in here that are not just housekeeping points, sir.
Okay, with that, I will punt the taking the bylaws changes to a City Council meeting to be determined. So we're not going to take them to that. We will pull the item.
I just want to remind everyone, you can't take an action on something that's not agendized at the moment. And I know that the discussion was preempt to what you're looking to place on the agenda, and I think that's fine, but you can't put an action on something that is not on the agenda. That's
why I was asking that we have the continuance of the elections and to have a bylaw meeting scheduled to review before the elections.
You can only vote on the chair and the vice chair.
Correct.
So I believe, Daisy, if you tell us we have a motion on the table and we have a second of the motion and to continue the elections to the July meeting. And the motion also asks for a special meeting to review bylaws so that we can all be as knowledgeable as possible on these bylaws. So what do we do at this time?
Yeah, you can have a motion and a second to continue the item, and then you can go ahead and vote on that. you do have an opportunity to ask for things to be placed on the agenda. You have a process for that. And so that's a separate.
Correct.
So you can do that at that time.
So I call for a vote. I call for the question.
I'm sorry, Chair, this is Commissioner Bailon. What is that? What are we approving then? Just the moving of the elections to the July meeting, is that right?
That's correct. And in that motion, the request for a special meeting to review the bylaws.
You can't make that motion. It's not on the agenda. I'm sorry.
Okay, so then agendize is the election. So I make a motion to have the election in the month of July, matching the other commission's July elections.
This is Carl Benninger. I second that motion.
Can you please separate the motions from the chair first and then go to the vice chair second and vote on them separately, please?
Okay. Let's rephrase the motion,
So I make the motion for the chair election nomination in the month of July as a continuous to match the other July elections of other commissions.
Okay, so Recording Secretary Ortiz will go ahead and call out roll call vote, and you can state yes or no.
Chair McLaughlin,
Yes.
Nancy Sandoval Bailon,
Yes.
Carl Benninger,
Yes.
Sui Vasquez,
Yes.
Brian Germain,
Yes.
Tanya Navarro,
Yes.
Gary Wood,
No.
Dorian Romero,
Yes.
It appears that the motion to table the election for chair and vice chair,
No,
just for chair, yeah, for chair, has been tabled to the month of July.
So moved.
Now, this is Commissioner Carl Benninger. I now make a motion that we continue the election for the vice president until July.
I second the motion. This is Commissioner Bailon.
I'll take roll. Janelle McLaughlin,
Yes.
Nancy Sandoval Bailon,
Yes.
Carl Benninger,
Yes.
Sui Vasquez,
Yes.
Brian Germain,
Yes.
Tanya Navarro,
Yes.
Gary Wood,
No.
Dorian Romero.
Yes.
It appears that the motion has passed to table the Etac nomination and election of vice chair to the month of July. Now we move on. Chair McLaughlin.
Yes. Moving on to item 6, the neighborhood block beautification contest. I'd like to introduce Michelle McCaff, who is doing a presentation on the results of this event. Michelle. Michelle has the beautiful on her back wall to be thankful and blessed.
She's muted.
Thank you, Chair. And good afternoon, Commissioners. The deadline for submitting the entries for the neighborhood block beautification contest has passed, and it's now time to do the judging. And Etac is the official judge for the contest. And we're asking for 3 commissioners to participate as the judges. There is a metrics rating sheet that you'll reference to grade the entry and identify the winners. And Lori, can you share that grading sheet?
Sorry to interrupt. This is Commissioner Bailon. Chair McLaughlin, could you please mute yourself?
Yes.
I was asking Lori if she would be able to share the grading sheet. So those that would be interested in judges could see what was involved.
Michelle,
I can share.
do you have the presentation?
I have the grading sheet visible. I can show it if I can share my screen.
Yeah,
Okay,
you should be able.
Yeah, you could share it.
Okay. Let's see. It won't let me open it to share the screen. I'm hearing share the screen, but it's not allowing me access. But we do have a ratings metrics for the judge to use. And what would be involved is meeting in person here at the Public Works Ross Annex office to review the entries. There are entries that are only hard copies, so it's difficult to share those digitally because there's numerous pictures involved. But if we can meet in person, we can efficiently do the judging of the entries and identify the winners. And we're asking for 3 of the commissioners to participate as judges.
Yeah.
So Michelle, I'm double checking on Zoom, and it does say that you should be able to share your screen. So once you click on the share screen on the green button, it's going to pop up screen 1, screen 2. Just click on whatever screen monitor you're wanting.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Got it.
There you go. You got it.
Okay. So here's the rating metrics for the judges. And it basically is all about rating, you know, the plant materials, the landscape design, the property maintenance, the neighborhood context of the entry. And it's very simple. It's a total of 200 points that they can earn for each of the properties. And again, there's 3 winners per ward. And the rating is judged, or the winner is judged by the highest points. So do we have 3 commissioners that would like to be judges? Do you need to vote on that, or how do we proceed with identifying the 3 judges?
What I would like to ask, this is Chair McLaughlin, I would like to ask what that consists of. How many neighborhoods submitted? What neighborhoods submitted? Does this mean that the 3 chairs have to go out in committee to view these properties? Is there a time frame for these chairs to do this? Are these committee members, these judges? What is expected of these judges?
Very good questions. The first step is, well, we received 3 entries. The 3 entries were from Ward 3. And since it's our first year, we want to do the formal judging of those 3 entries and learn from that process also, but also make it official in doing that. And the steps in judging would involve meeting here to physically review the entries that were submitted, and then if needed, going to those neighborhoods to review those entries. But I think it can be done efficiently, you know, in viewing the entries with the pictures, the before and after pictures that were submitted. So it may involve, you know, probably up to 2 hours of time in judging if you have 3 entries.
So my understanding, when you're saying Ward 3 has 3 entries, what are the other wards? How many total entries do we have?
We only have the 3 entries, no other wards submitted.
We have 3 entries from 1 ward.
Correct.
Let me see if I can, this Commissioner Bettinger, I'd like to nominate myself on that committee only because of the fact, the experience of doing most beautiful yard in Comlink a number of years, and I think your judging will be very similar how we handled it there. And I think as far as entries, they still can submit entries at this point, correct?
No, the deadline has passed.
Deadline has passed, okay. So I'd like to nominate myself, and I'd like any other commissioner to join us. Two more.
This is Commissioner Jermaine. I'd like to also nominate myself as a judge.
Commissioner Vasquez, I would like to nominate myself as well as a judge.
Thank you, commissioners, for stepping forward. That's great.
Okay, great. Thank you, commissioners, for Commissioners Benninger, Germain, and Vasquez. If there's no objections, then we can move ahead. This isn't anything super formal. So
Okay.
That's great.
Thank you again. Moving on to item 7, which is the OC streetcar status of the upcoming, I believe we have a presentation.
Yes, we have a presentation from Tressa Oliveri from OCTA. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioner McLaughlin and other Chair McLaughlin and other commissioners. I'm Tressa Oliveri from Orange County Transportation Authority. We are in partnership with the City of Santa Ana building the OC streetcar project. And I do have a presentation, so I hope that I will be able to share my screen in a moment. Okay, are you all, let me know if you all are seeing the presentation.
Not yet.
Okay, we'll give it a second.
Once you select the screen, then you have to click on share. There's like a little blue button on the monitor.
I thought that's what I did, but hang on a second. Screen 1 and share.
There you go. You got it.
Okay, great.
Great, we're seeing your screen. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, terrific. So just as kind of an overview, and just to let you know, this is the same presentation that our board of directors saw towards the end of April. So some of the photographs will be a little late, have happened previously, but this is a pretty good representation of what you'll see out in the field. So just as a reminder, our project is divided up into 5 segments. The first segment that we can talk about here is the segment that runs in what was known as the old Pacific Electric right-of-way. And that is property that OCTA owns. It runs approximately from Rate Street all the way through up to Harbor and Westminster, where there will be a terminus platform when we're finished. So the recent activities that have been happening there is we are continuing the installation of the overhead contact system. Those are the large poles that you see out in the area, and installing the duct banks. They have started with the construction of the Fairview Station platform. If you drive across Fairview, you will have noticed that construction. They started on the outside, now they've shifted. Actually, they are working on the outside now. And you can see the beginning of the foundation for the station platform beginning to start. They're also going to be working on the retaining wall on that south side of the harbor station up towards the corner of the drawing that you see there. There's 2 bridges on the project. One of them, the Westminster Bridge, goes over, let's see if I can make this a little easier to see. It goes over Westminster as it comes across the Pacific Electric right-of-way. So you see the concrete placement on the bridge deck continuing, and the reconstruction of the median is just about complete now. The second bridge for the project goes over the Santa Ana River Bridge. We do not disturb the existing historical bridge that's there, but this is on the deck of this bridge, there will be track going in both directions. So it's a bi-directional bridge. And then still within segment 1, we are building the maintenance and storage facility. That's where the cars will come in at night to be serviced. There's a wash and as well as there'll be a multi-story building there, which will house all of the maintenance staff as well as the operations. And like I said, this is where all the trains will come in to be serviced at the end of the night. So the rest of the segments are all what we say are street running segments. And in the street, we are up to the part in the project where we are installing those OCS or the poles. We're making changes to some of the traffic signals and updating the street light foundations and poles. In segment 2A, which is approximately from Bristol to Rate, we did encounter and remediated, which means, removed the railroad ties from this former red car system that came from LA down into Santa Ana, and removed all of that unsuitable, the subgrade soil as well. And now we are working, all of the track installation on the north side of the street is complete, and we're now working on the south side of the street. So we're now working in an easterly fashion. I believe this morning they closed the intersection at Pacific in order to continue the work. So here's some close-ups to that track installation activity. Happy to answer any questions anybody has, but otherwise we'll just kind of keep going. You can see, they put all of this upgrade in. They pull the rail in from the PE right-of-way, set the rail, and then do the pour to smooth over and create the surface for the rails. For the upcoming construction milestones, we'll continue to do the in-street, the embedded track. In the Pacific Electric right-of-way, it's called ballasted track. So that is a different type of track. So there's two different track types in this project. And there is some special track that's also been ordered for some of the crossover work. You can see here, there's additional work to be done on the bridges. There are over 100 of these OCS poles to be installed along the project. At the MSF, or the maintenance storage facility, we'll continue to work on the slabs. And then once all of that work gets done, we'll be able to sort of get the project out of the ground. The station stop platforms are also, some of them are in construction. You see some of them at Rate and at Fairview, as I mentioned before, and also at Harbor. And the delivery and placement of traction power substations. Because this project is powered by electricity, there are 4 substations that get delivered, and then those will be what powers the station. So there's one at each terminus, one at the Santa Ana train station, at the Metrolink station, one at the stop that we're building at Harbor and Westminster, and then one in the parking lot at City Hall, Santa Ana City Hall, and one will be at the MSF. So the project vehicles, I think it might be the last time we were in front of this committee was when we were trying to decide on the kind of color scheme for the streetcars themselves. So here's a preview of what they look like. They're being built up in Sacramento, and there's testing that happens both inside the facility and outside of the facility. So you can see some of the detail there about the bumper, and we're talking with Siemens about when they will be delivering the first vehicles. I believe the last I heard, it might be in August or September of next year, I should say, not this year. Or, it actually should be for this year, I'm sorry. So again, here's some pictures of the vehicles inside the Siemens facility. You can see they continue to do, they do it like 2 cars at a time. So we have cars in different phases of readiness. And then for the outreach portion of the project, so we continue to, even though all through COVID, we've been continuing to provide updates to the community. Sometimes we'll do canvassing door to door. We also do things electronically. We also put information out on social media. The segment 4 field assessment that you see there, the next area that we're looking to open up will be 4th Street. And we want to make sure that we are prepared with the contractor. We realize that there is a lot of pedestrian access, a lot of people, kind of visiting the downtown. And with all of the businesses along 4th Street beginning to open up because, more people being vaccinated and the emergency rules are being lifted and modified, we want to make sure that we're providing enough information and enough detail so the business owners kind of know what to expect. In addition to that work, we also have a program called Eat, Shop, Play, where we have gone out and talked to many of the businesses, and we provide additional marketing support to them through our website and other channels. And in addition to these items that you see here, we also have business arrangements made with the 2 business associations in the Downtown Inc. and the Santa Ana Business Council, where OCTA has provided them funding for them to help produce events and to help market their events out to a broader audience, as well as during COVID, some of that funding was used to help them shift their operations from in-person events to virtual events. So there was a number of kind of electronic infrastructure that was needed to be supported, and OCTA's funding helped support that. So that's pretty much an overview of the project. I'm happy to answer any questions if I can. And I will stop. I'll leave the screen up in case somebody needs me to go back and refer to a slide.
Teresa, this is Commissioner Benninger, and first I want to thank you and let the other commissioners know that Teresa and Neville, with a number of other city people, were very kind to answer our request for a meeting to talk about some concerns that we've had. So we very much appreciate your time that you gave us on this. I will ask the question where we stand time-wise, and just let the commissioners know that when you take on a project like this, you never know what you're going to find. And unfortunately, found contaminated soil which had lead contained in it. And I understand that from being in industry myself, that just means someone's disposed of some fuels or something that had lead in it and was encapsulated in the soil. So disposing of that soil properly was the right thing to do. Also, you were delayed by bones, I believe, that you found. I don't know if they were, how old they were or what were, but you had to take care properly of that. And so with that, then what is your timetable and how far behind are you?
So it's right now we're looking at the summer to go into what we call revenue service by mid-2023. That all, as you said, is contingent upon us, being able to continue with at the same rate of work that we're doing now. A lot of things affect the progress of the work, and as issues come up on any like they do on any project, it does take time sometimes to either redesign effort, put some things into a redesign. For example, the city of Santa Ana is an old city, as you all know, and we found that we had to redesign some of the way that the depth at which we were putting the going down for the full track bed. So we've modified some of those things. Now the duct bank can be at a shallower excavation, so it doesn't affect the operation in any way, but that did, it just takes a little bit of time to work all of this stuff out. So we continue to monitor, and we continue to look at, kind of what's coming up. As I said before, on 4th Street, there's a lot of complicated ducts and other utilities that have gone under there. And years ago, we weren't as careful about memorializing what was under there. So much of what we come across is abandoned. However, we have to investigate that to make sure that we're not, potentially creating a dangerous situation by opening up something that we should, touching something or removing something that someone else needs to come and help us do it in a specific way. So we'll continue to provide these updates to our board. We go in front of our board quarterly, and William and Nabil are also part of our, we meet with the city on a bi-weekly basis to kind of review items. And I wanted to thank you, Mr. Benninger. You were very gracious with us out in the field and asked a lot of really good questions. In fact, he sent me another list of questions earlier today, so I've gotten started already on developing the responses for those. But we're really excited about this project, and we know that once we get it built, it's going to be a great benefit to moving people around the city in a more efficient and modern way.
This is Commissioner Romero. I'd like to say something. Thank you for the presentation. I do appreciate the outreach that you're doing. I'd hope that the outreach can continue with residents as well, not just the businesses, because I know a lot of people have questions. Maybe a lot of people weren't involved in the decision-making process of the streetcar. So definitely reaching out to the residents. And then another thing was, go ahead.
The easiest way for anyone to get in touch with the project team is to just send an email to ocstreetcar@octa.net. So I see it as well as members of my team, and we are happy to respond. We're continuing to provide notices, as I said, when work happens out in front of people's homes specifically, but any questions that the community has or you in your conversations, please direct them to me and we'll do our best to answer. They can also follow the project on social media. So on Facebook and Instagram, that's a way that, an easy way for people to communicate with us. And I should also mention that the communication that we're providing out that's public facing is bilingual.
Thank you. You said it's ocstreetcar.net?
ocstreetcar@octa.net.
Yeah, I think the door-to-door canvassing is a good way because not a lot of people have access to the internet.
Right.
So if you can continue that.
Mm-hmm.
The other point I wanted to ask was the fare rates for the OC streetcar, because if it could be free or affordable to Santa Ana residents who would rely on it for work purposes.
This will be integrated into our into our transportation system here in Orange County. Unfortunately, the funding doesn't allow us to provide it free of charge, but it is the same rate as our bus service. And for those maybe who weren't part of the project earlier, I should say that there'll be 10 stops in each direction, and the frequency of service during peak hours will be approximately every 10 minutes.
This is Commissioner Benninger again. I just want to say that I hope this is just the start of a larger program. I would love to see us eventually get up as far as Disneyland, all the way to the airport. But Commissioner Romero, I think you've got a very good suggestion that we should suggest to the council, maybe as a reward to get people to start riding this when it comes available. Why don't they send out or sponsor a couple of year-long passes for residents and maybe do a lottery, but at least get the excitement that it's coming, it's time to ride. We can make that recommendation to the council.
And I think part of, when OCTA, when we get closer to ride, Commissioner Benninger, there will be our marketing department will be involved with, they have the responsibility of kind of educating the public, and I'll be happy to take that recommendation back to them. I mean, you can certainly do it formally through the city council, but I will be happy to report your comment and your request through to our marketing department.
Thank you very much, Ms. Oliver. Any other questions?
Yes, this is Commissioner Jermaine. Good evening, Teresa. This is Commissioner Jermaine. With the project, the OCTA streetcar project, you refer to two stations, the Fairview and the Harbor Station. Are those like larger stations, and you're going to have substations involved? Because I believe I picked up that you said that there was 10 overall for this portion of the streetcar project. And is the maintenance storage facility, is that in Santa Ana, or is that in Garden Grove at the current OCTA maintenance storage facility for the buses? Will it be in conjunction with that, or is it its own totally new site?
Okay, I'm going to take the station question first. The stations themselves are all the same. So they consist of a platform that has ADA access on both sides. So we make it, obviously, we want to make, this has to be inaccessible. The streetcar itself is different from a bus in that it has what we call level boarding. So all the doors open at the same time. So if you've been on like a people mover at an airport, so it's very, very similar to that. Or if you've been down in San Diego, they have a similar type system. We call this a modern streetcar because this will be the first one in California in that the streetcar runs on embedded wheels that travels in the same travel path with cars. So in San Diego, they have a similar looking system, but their system works on a dedicated trackway. So I think, if I wasn't clear before, all 10 stations are virtually the same. When we're in the street running portion, the stations are up on the curb side of the, so in other words, if you're running from Santa Ana Boulevard, from the train station, and your first stop, I believe it will be Lacey once you get past Santiago, that station will be on the north side of the street. And then when you're coming back in the other direction, the stops in the street are on the south side. So for example, at Bristol, you'll have platforms opposite each other. In the PE right-of-way, the stops will be center platform. So the train, as it's going westbound, stops and everybody gets out on the left-hand side. And when you're coming eastbound, obviously the doors open on the other side. I should also let you know that the train has an operator in it. So it has to follow all of the traffic laws and so for example, the speed limit, et cetera, that the cars do. And then you asked me about the MSF. The MSF is located in the Pacific Electric right-of-way. It is right next door to the SNA Auto, the recycling center. In fact, OCTA purchased the property from SNA Auto, and they just moved a couple property over. So the back side of the MSF opens up to the PE right-of-way, and the front part of it fronts 5th Street. And there's some, I'd be happy to provide a link that we have some videos that show kind of a frame up, kind of a virtual reality that shows you what that project, what the building itself will look like when we're finished, and kind of takes you around inside. It's kind of cool.
And so that project there, is that separate from the streetcar, or is it going to be like a different phase?
It's all part of the same contract. So, and it is separate from our bus operation center. So you mentioned that's in Garden Grove. This operation center will be, in the maintenance and storage facility will be there off 5th Street. So just a couple blocks in from Rate.
Thank you. It sounds unique, like you have mentioned earlier. It sounds like a first of its kind, because the San Diego trolley, operates where you got to step down and, with the step ladder that takes people out to a station, but street level, where this has platforms and it rides on the street as well. So it is very unique. I like that. I guess where I was continuing to go is with the substations and even the larger platform stations, where there be parking or bicycle accessories for commuters to utilize, or will the streetcars itself be able to accommodate those who utilize bicycles to navigate from home to business or pleasure?
Sure. So there's parking available at both what we call terminus stations. So at the Metrolink station, as you're well aware, there's surface parking as well as multi-story parking structure there at the Metrolink station. And then when at the end station at Harbor and Westminster, there'll be parking for, I think, maybe between 40 and 45 cars. I know there's been a little bit of a redesign happening at that station location that tipped into a couple of the parking spaces, so I'd have to go back and check the number, but I believe it's between 40 and 45 spaces there. For bicycles, yes, bicycles are welcome. In fact, the way that the seats are configured inside, there is a place where you can either hang on to your bike, or there's a way that you can hang your bike safely within the confines of the streetcar.
Awesome. That concludes my questions there. Thank you so much. I like that it does accommodate residents of Santa Ana to be able to commute and kind of take that long bike ride and get them somewhere a little bit safer and faster, being enclosed in a vehicle to transport them closer to their destination. So with the parkings, obviously with technology, there'll be some EV parking, I imagine. So this really.
I'll have to check. We're creating a new parking at the Harbor Westminster, so I will check into that for you. There'll be this EV parking at the Santa Ana station.
Thank you very much, Ms. Oliver. Any further questions? Okay, we're concluding the presentation. We're moving on to item 8, the South Main Public Arts Institute initiative. So we're going to get some great art there. And is Sean Thomas available to present?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Nabil. I'd like to introduce Sean Thomas, our CIP Senior Engineer and Project Manager for the South Main project. As you know, the South Main project is a sizable 2.7 miles of street improvements, and upon the direction of City Council, we have initiated an initiative to include public art in the project, and Sean will be able to share some of our ideas and initiatives to make this project a success and incorporate public arts. I'm not sure if Sean is there, but let's see. Let's find Sean. I can't find Sean. It looks like Sean is not on the screen. Let me see if I can find him.
This is Chair McLaughlin. I have a question, Nabil. Is this something that we're working in conjunction with the arts commissioners?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, as Sean will share with you, we have joined with the Arts and Culture Commission to initiate this initiative. And the concept here is we have identified certain locations and possible places where public art can be incorporated into the South Main project. However, the art itself will have to go through the Arts and Culture Commission for review and approval. We made a presentation similar to the one I'm hoping for you to have today by Sean. And we have asked them to initiate the process. We have drafted guidelines and gave them some ideas on what the art would look like and what we'd like to see. So that commission will be receiving proposals. Based on these proposals, they will push the ones that they like to us in Public Works. And based on safety, cost, location, Public Works Agency would look at the proposals for the art, and if we can afford these things or the proposals, we would build them into and integrate them into the project. But it's a two-step process. The Arts and Culture Commission will have to approve, review the concept and the proposal, and qualify the artist. He's on. Okay. And I believe that Sean just dialed in. Let me find him. But anyway, the step one is for the Cultural Commission to review the proposal, evaluate the work of the artist himself or herself or the group. And then from that point, we will be pushed to Public Works for cost and feasibility and safety. And if those things are pans out for us, we would incorporate those in the project. And let's see, Sean, Sean is right there.
Yes. Hi. Thanks, Nabil. Yes, and Nabil mentioned we have the Arts Initiative open now to the public. There's an application packet that's made available online through the city's website, and as well as there was some social media that was sent out. And the applications or the proposals for this for these arts initiatives are due at the end of June, June 30th at 11:59 PST. So I think Nabil already mentioned, once we receive these proposals, they'll be vetted and for safety, and will be presented to the Arts and Cultural Commission, who's going to ultimately select which arts proposals are going to move forward. And then those proposals will be given back to us. And then once the construction project is nearing end, we'll kind of have an idea of how much contingency money we have left over. And based on that, we'll fund these improvements and, get them done through our contractor, as many as we can. And kind of that's the general gist of, of the South Main Arts Initiative. So we're currently right now in the, requesting proposals phase. And we're, again, by June 30th, we'll see what kind of proposals we receive.
Thank you, Sean. This is Janelle McLaughlin, Chair. My question is, what kind of money are we talking about? I'm missing, and where's the money coming from? I think I missed that.
So the money, it kind of depends. So we have, right now in the project, we have about, $1.4 million of project contingency. That contingency is meant for, unforeseen conditions or things that need to change as it relates to the project scope contract items. It's roughly 10% of kind of the overall project scope. But sometimes, a lot of times, when the projects are nearing the end, we realize that we didn't use all of the contingency. And that's where these arts initiatives are going to be funded from. So this project is like a year-long project. We just started, so it's really hard to predict how much of that contingency we have now. And that's why that we're going to have, and that's why we don't have a dollar amount in there. But internally, we were thinking like it'll be at least $50,000, hopefully more. But again, we won't know until it's towards the end.
So a second part of that question, are you looking for sculptures or murals? I mean, $50,000 sounds like a lot of money, but when it comes to, getting strong artists to do good murals and things, that's barely a mural.
So we're looking for, I think based on the guidelines there's parameters for each location of where we're accepting art. It can be murals, it can be small sculptures. But the idea is to kind of have the proposals vetted already, so that we have the accepted ideas and the accepted proposals, I should say, so that when we identify how much money we have, we're ready to go and we're not scrambling at that point, because then it's going to be too late to try and start this process with the dollar amount in mind, because we can't have the contractor sit there and wait, because then he will charge us more and we would have less money to work with. So it's, hopefully it's more than 50,000. We don't know. We're not going to know until later. But, the idea is we'll have a list of projects that will then select based on the budget that we have.
So I was on the Arts Council, as well as I'm CFO of the Santa Ana Public Schools Foundation, which part of us are arts and supporting arts for our students and doing big projects with the Bowers Museum. Have you outreach to our Santa Ana Unified, and how have you outreach to them?
I believe we have through Tramley. Tramley is helping us, or she's partnering with us in this endeavor. She's with our CDA, and we are reaching out and have reached out. And I'll make sure that we continue to reach out throughout this process.
Thank you.
Since we do have, still a month left before these are due.
Do our commissioners have any questions?
Hi, this is Commissioner Navarro. I have a couple of questions. So I would like to ask if you have reached out to Santa Ana College's Mural Club, and also I'm excited to see the art, definitely. Have you all, well, I'll go with that first question first.
I'll check with Tram to see if she has. I personally haven't, but if we, in any case, we'll make sure we do right away. Santa Ana College Mural Club, right?
Commissioner Navarro, I just let you know, the project really does not include a mural, because normally a mural will go on a wall, and this project is a public works project. We don't have private walls along the stretch of street with a wall that belongs to the city for us to put a mural. We are looking at sidewalk art. We're looking at bus shelter type art. We're looking at maybe a crossing. What do you call those, William? Crosswalk art. And those kind of arts that we are looking at. Murals are not in the picture because it is on a public street, and we don't have a wall that belongs to the city that we can put a mural on.
Oh, okay, understand. But definitely, I would say as a student at Santa Ana College, the arts department there would be able to help with a variety of different projects. So I would love to see them involved, as well as any other local artists. Where are you currently taking submissions?
There is a website that's on the application where basically it's online. It's through cityofsantaana.submittable.com/submit. So there's specific instructions, and it's pretty much online. So that's how we're accepting them.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Commissioner Vasquez here.
Yes.
I'm following up on another question. Have you reached out to the Santa Ana Unified School District to see if any if any students from Santa Ana have any art they would like to submit as well?
I'm not, I believe we have, and I'll make sure that we do, regardless, again, tomorrow itself. So if we haven't already, then, they'll be notified tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure we already have. And I know, several, nixels and things like that have been went out. Same thing with Facebook, but we'll make sure we directly communicate again with them tomorrow.
May I ask Commissioner Vasquez, do you know of someone that we can reach out directly to in the Santa Ana Unified? And for the other commissioners, if you know anyone at the Santa Ana College that we can reach out to so we can alert them to the website and the submittals? If you do, please share them with us.
How would you like me to submit that information to you?
Just email me.
Okay, thank you.
So Nabil, oh, sorry, this is Commissioner McLaughlin. Robin McNair is head of all of the arts for Santa Ana Unified. So that is the contact, and I can give her, give you the contact for her for Santa Ana Unified.
Okay, sounds great.
And another question as well. Is the art that we're talking about right now, is this going to be incorporated in the South Main Corridor project?
That's
or is
the
this
goal.
a separate project?
No, that's the goal, for it to be taken care of before we finish this South Main project.
Is there a way where we could probably get more information regarding the the corridor project?
Yeah, you can reach out to myself for any information about the project itself. We also have a website dedicated to the project that you can start with if you want to get information, and then that will have contact information as well. It's you know, I usually just, if you just Google City of Santa Ana South Main construction, it'll come up something. I can tell you the address right now. It is www.santa-ana.org/south-main-construction. So I usually just Google it and it comes up.
All right. Thank you so much for that information.
Okay, are we all set there? Let's go through concluding the meeting today and go through our various folks. Any comments coming along the way? And I don't have my list here. Dorian, is there anything that you would like to say today?
At the last meeting, I mentioned something about the decriminalization of skateboarding. That is something I'd like to talk about at a future meeting.
Lori, can you go and list the commissioners and ask them, please?
I will do that, but there's going to be a place a little bit later in the meeting for future items. So it's under agenda items for future meetings. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and start with staff comments because that's next on the agenda. So staff comments, does staff have any comments?
Thanks, Lori. I don't have any comments at this point. Thank you.
I do have a comment, Lori, and this touches on the question on skateboarding. We will have a future presentation on something that we call micro mobility. It covers both skateboarding and scooters and that kind of subject matter, and how we can deal with some of those devices and the interest that we've received from some of these companies in operating scooters.
Is there any other comments?
So can we go back to commissioner comments now? Sorry.
Most certainly. Let's see, where's my list? Commissioner Sandoval Bailon.
No comments.
Commissioner Benninger.
I'd like to again thank the Public Works for meeting with us out at the project on the trolley. We were concerned about tripping hazards and things of that nature in that neighborhood and security. And I think very much appreciate the time given to us, and we're continuing to work on that. I would, and I don't know if I'm out of step at this point, but I would like to see this put on the agenda for next time, review of the bylaws, so that we do
Can we, excuse me, can we save that until the agenda items for future meetings?
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's fine. And okay. And just go along with Commissioner Romero. My first skateboard was metal skates pounded onto or screwed into a wooden board. So I go back to old style skateboards. But I totally agree with you, and I'd like to see more skateboard parks in the city. That's all my comments.
Thank you. And next would be Commissioner Germain.
Commissioner Germain, I'd like to continue echoing the support for this Public Works Agency and its Director Nabil for how you guys are able to tackle that graffiti work. I was at a Memorial Park for Northeast Santa Ana Little League game one week, where graffiti was on the benches in the dugout. And in 2 days, by the next time we visited for another practice, that graffiti was wiped off. And the parents are noticing that and how the app works. And so I just hope that it gains popularity as we keep pushing to make some efforts towards cleaning up graffiti in areas where it just it's not a place to be seen. So I wanted to echo that, and that's all the comments I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Navarro.
Hi, I have no comments at this time.
Thank you. Commissioner Romero, I believe we already heard from you regarding a future item on decriminalizing skateboarding. Did you have anything else before I
yes, as a comment, I was wondering if we could possibly get some contact information for the OC Streetcar presentation and also the South Main Public Arts Initiative, in case we have questions or if we have people in mind who are interested in knowing a little bit more about those subjects.
Commissioner Romero, what was your second project you were interested in?
For today's presentations, if we can get contact information for the South Main Public Arts Initiative and the OC Streetcar.
Thank you. Is Tressa Oliveri still with us? Okay, I'll provide the commissioners with contact information regarding the OC Streetcar, and I'll try and get something to you all as well on South Main Arts Initiative. And next on the list, thank you, by the way, is Commissioner Vasquez.
Hi there, Commissioner Vasquez. I just want to thank the staff that came out today and informed us a little bit more about the projects going on here in Santa Ana, specifically the OC Streetcar. I know there was this streetcar was this project was met with many different opinions, and if possible, if we could get that information so we could investigate that a little bit more, just in case if we have any residents of Santa Ana that come up to us for questions, we're able to answer those questions for them.
Thank you, Commissioner Vasquez. Next on the list is Commissioner Wood.
Yeah, thank you. I will have a couple comments for the agenda items, but as far as commissioner comments, I wanted to thank the staff for the presentations. You know, one thing that we do in Ward 1, every quarter, our Councilwoman Fan has a Zoom meeting with all the various commissioners, and we all get to discuss with each other what is happening with our respective commissions. So it'll be great to be able to share some of this information with my other commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wood. Commissioner McLaughlin, I'm sorry, Chair McLaughlin, you are next.
Thank you very much, everyone, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Can you move, are you going to go ahead and move on to agenda items for future meetings, Janelle?
Sure.
Thank you.
Are we free to?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Vasquez here.
Yes, please go.
So I would just like to see if we could get a presentation on the plans for the Salesman corridor project.
Okay.
So we could get a little more information about what specifically is going to go on, how that's going to impact the residents that live near Main Street, or just as much information as we could receive about that project.
Excellent. Commissioner Benninger.
As I mentioned, I'd like to see itemize the bylaws so that we can have a chance to discuss them and then pass them on to the council to approve.
Okay.
I guess I also would like to have us talk about some things going on in our infrastructure. Where do we stand on the lift project in Segerstrom? I guess there's also a large water deferent doing with the county for rainwater runoff. So both of those I'd like to see us talk about.
Was that Segerstrom water runoff?
Segerstrom is the lift station.
Segerstrom lift station.
Correct.
And
the other
water
one's
runoff?
Yeah, the water runoff in the channel. I don't know if there's a word for that, but the weather is called Bristol or Newport. But the Public Works is spending money to change that around.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner Germain.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Anything else that you would like to for future?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Navarro.
Hello. I would like some insight on how the OC Streetcar.
You would like further information on the OC Streetcar? Can you be?
Yes, sorry. And the way that they conducted their community outreach to what neighborhoods and how they talk to them, the residents.
Okay.
Yes.
It was years of outreach, and it was through, we can go through that, but it was years of outreach. It was a very extreme outreach. What else do we have here? Commissioner Wood, is there something else that you would like to put on future agenda, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I would like to add two things. Actually, one item sort of correlates to what Vice Chair Benninger just added to the agenda. Nabil, when we do the presentation next month or next meeting for the bylaw changes, can you also address with all the other commissions when they hold their votes? Because I do know, excuse me, that two commissions do vote in June. The Personnel Board was meeting today, and they were selecting their chair and vice chair. And I believe the Community Redevelopment and Housing also does their elections in June, which is sort of the backdrop to why I voted no on moving ours. So could you present to us the other commissions when they hold their elections, just so we know if we're going outside that or if we're going with them? And
Commissioner Wood, that's a great idea, just for the sheer fact that in this revision of bylaws, it's taken the June election off this revision of bylaws, and it has not set a date in this revision of bylaws. So that would be excellent information to set the date so that we're all on schedule.
I agree, Madam Chairman. The other thing, if we could add at some point, if next month is too soon with all the stuff we have, maybe the month after, but we keep coming back to graffiti. And I don't know, Nabil, if the city, pardon me, if Public Works has done a presentation to Etac in the last year or two, but I would like to know a couple of things. What does the city spend on removing graffiti currently? I know with private contractors, how many contractors do we utilize? And how does Santa Ana compare to other cities in Orange County? Not on timeliness, because I know we do it very timely, but on how much we spend. Because to me, I think it's a huge problem in the city. We just really like to look at ways that are a little unique to address this problem.
Very good.
Thank you.
Nancy, is there something that you would like to see on the future agenda?
Yes, along the same lines as Commissioner Benninger and Wood, I'd like to have a more comprehensive description with regards to the bylaws, Article 6, Section 1 and 2, and what those mechanisms are for the advisory capacity to the City Council and to the Executive Public Works Agency. So how does that function within our committee, and how does that get to those respective groups?
Excellent. So have I missed anybody? I think we have it then. So we have all our comments, Lori. We have all of our suggestions. We used to carry on our agenda at the end of the agenda when you send forward the list of requests by our members. And we used to be able to each see that and work off of it. And when we have our presentations, it removes from it. Is that something we can do again so that it's a cumulative list? So nothing's forgotten from these various questions?
The clerk of the council just replied that, yes, we can go ahead and add that to be a cumulative list. And so we'll work on having that done. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And sorry for being late. It's 5:42.
Madam Chair.
Hello.
I have a second of your time before we adjourn.
Oh, a public service announcement?
Okay, really quick. I just want to, if you have a pencil or a pen, I want you to make a note of section, let's see, Article 1, Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-555 of the Municipal Code. It says duties and responsibilities of Etac. And I want you to read part 4 of Etac, and that's in the Municipal Code, the ordinance. Number 4 reads, the duties of Etac shall also consist of acting in an advisory capacity to the City Council in the study, review, and recommendation related to master planning of transportation and streetscape matters, and guiding principles on water and wastewater matters. Just want you to think about that, and that is in the ordinance, and it's not up to change through the bylaws.
Commissioner Vasquez here one more time. Can you repeat where we could find that again, Mr. Saba?
Thank you for that. It is Chapter 2, Article 1, Section, I believe, 2. And again, let me say, I lost my page.
That's Section 2-555.
Yes. And if you want, also, you can search ordinance number NS-2992.
That was ordinance number S-2992.
NS, N as in Nabil, S as in Sam, -2992. And like I mentioned, the changes in the bylaws is to reflect what is in the ordinance, and that's all it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I'd like to make a change. That's Article 4.
Okay.
May I ask, can we send this out to an email to the commissioners? Because we have Part 404 ordinance, Chapter 2, Article NS 2992. So if a nice email could go out to the commissioners of what you would like us to look at, and even actually copy it for us so we don't have to go look at it. And I think that's what we're asking, is to have that understanding, sir.
You're welcome. We will do so.
Thank you very much. And good night to everyone, and thank you for your time.
Janelle, I'm sorry, one thing to add to that, if we can also, all of us get copies of the actual proposed changes. So next time we're prepared, we're ready, and we can go through this quickly.
We'll do so. No problem.
Everybody have all the information, the same information. It's my mantra. Sorry, Nabil. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good night, everyone.
Good night, all.